We live in a world where people chase the thrill of love but run from the weight of duty. Everyone wants the butterflies, the spark, the excitement. But here's the truth: butterflies die, sparks fade, excitement wears off. What remains? What actually keeps a relationship alive is not just love, it's love with duty. Feelings are fragile. They shift with moods, with seasons, with circumstances. Duty is steady. Duty says, I will show up for you not only when I feel like it, but also when I don't. That's the foundation of every strong relationship. Without it, you are building your love on sand, and one storm will wash it away. Love with duty means understanding that relationships are not sustained by chance, but by choice. It's easy to say, I love you when life feels good. But the real test of love is whether you choose to stay when things get heavy, when the shine fades, when conflict appears. That's where duty steps in. Duty is the voice that tells you, be patient, be consistent, punishment, be responsible. It's the reminder that love is not just about how you feel, it's about what you do. Think about trust. Trust doesn't magically appear, it's built. And what builds it is duty. When you keep your word, when you show up on time, when you listen even when you're tired, when you carry the weight alongside your partner, you prove that your love is more than words. Trust is the oxygen of a strong relationship, and duty is how you keep it alive. Without duty, promises are empty and love becomes nothing more than a passing emotion. Now, some people think duty sounds heavy, like a burden. But it's not. Punishment. Duty is not a chain that locks you down. It's the anchor that keeps your relationship from drifting away. Love without duty is like a boat without an anchor. It floats beautifully when the water is calm, but the moment the storm hits, punishment, it's gone. Love with duty is what keeps you grounded, steady, and unshaken no matter the weather. And let's be honest, real love always demands sacrifice. That's not a sign of weakness. It's the proof of strength. You sacrifice time, you sacrifice comfort. Sometimes you even sacrifice your ego. But those sacrifices are not losses, they are investments. Every act of duty, every time you choose discipline over desire, responsibility over selfishness, you are investing in the future of your relationship. That's how bonds grow stronger. That's how two people become unbreakable together. The world tells you love is about feelings. Punishment. But feelings come and go. The couples who last, the relationships that stand the test of time, they understand this simple truth: discipline builds love. You can't wake up every day expecting passion to carry you. Punishment. You build passion through consistency, through small actions of respect, through daily choices to protect and prioritize each other. So if you want a relationship that thrives, stop chasing only what excites you, punishment, and start honoring what sustains you. Love is beautiful, yes, but without duty, it collapses. With duty, love doesn't just survive, it grows deeper, stronger, more powerful with time. Remember this: love without duty is just a spark. Love with duty is a fire that never goes out. Love without duty is unstable. At first, that might sound harsh, maybe even unromantic, but let's be honest, feelings fade. They rise and fall like waves. Punishment, and if your entire relationship is built only on feelings, it will never stand the test of time. One argument, one bad day, one season of stress can make those feelings vanish. That's why so many people walk away when the butterflies are gone. They thought feelings were enough to hold love together. But feelings are fragile. They shift with moods, with circumstances, with pressure. Commitment is what sustains. Punishment. Duty is what carries love beyond the surface, beyond the spark, into something real and lasting. Think about the first stage of love: the thrill, the excitement, the passion. It feels effortless, like you're living in a dream. But eventually reality sets in. Life brings bills, responsibilities, differences, disappointments. And here's where people make the mistake. They think that because the spark isn't as strong, the love isn't real anymore. No. Punishment. That's just the moment when love is asking you to grow deeper. That's when you discover whether your love was only a feeling, or whether it's backed by commitment. Love without duty is like building a house on sand. Punishment. It might look beautiful for a while, but the first storm will reveal how weak the foundation really is. Duty, on the other hand, is the concrete beneath it all. It says, I will show up even when it's hard. I will choose you even when I don't feel like it. I will stay steady when emotions are not enough. And that consistency, that responsibility, is what makes love unshakable. Now, many people hear the word duty and think it sounds heavy, like a burden, like something that kills romance. But that's the wrong perspective. Duty is not the end of passion. It's the guardrail that protects passion. Punishment. Think about it. If you know your partner is loyal, if you know they'll show up when they say they will, if you know they'll take responsibility when it matters most, doesn't that deepen your love? Doesn't that create safety And stability and respect, that's what duty does. It builds trust, and trust is the oxygen of every strong relationship. Without trust, love suffocates. Duty also requires sacrifice, and sacrifice is not weakness, it's strength. Choosing to stay committed, to put effort in daily, to prioritize the relationship over temporary desires, that's not easy, but it's what proves love is real. Anyone can say, I love you, when things are smooth. Punishment. But the person who chooses responsibility when it's uncomfortable, who chooses discipline when emotions are low, that's the person who truly loves. And this is where people get it wrong. They think love is about how much you feel. It's not. Love is about how much you give. It's about whether you're willing to do the work that feelings alone cannot carry. Duty is the evidence that your love isn't just words, it's action. Punishment. If you want a relationship that lasts, you cannot rely on feelings alone. Feelings are like the weather, they change. Duty is like the climate, it sets the pattern. The couples who thrive, the ones who build decades together. Punishment. Understand this love is not always exciting, but it is always a choice. And when you choose love with duty, you're saying, I will protect this bond, I will nurture it, I will honor it, no matter what season we're in. In the end, punishment. A love without duty collapses because it has nothing to stand on. But love with duty grows stronger with every challenge. It weathers storms. It deepens with time. It creates a connection that goes beyond feelings and becomes something unbreakable. So remember, fade, sparks die, emotions shift. But when love is rooted in duty, when it's supported by commitment, sacrifice, and punity, it doesn't just survive. It thrives. That's the kind of love worth building. Duty builds trust, and trust is the oxygen of strong relationships. Without it, no matter how much love you claim to have, punishment, your relationship will slowly suffocate. Because here's the truth, love may start a relationship, but trust is what keeps it alive. And trust doesn't grow out of words. It grows out of actions, out of responsibility, punishment, out of showing up when it's easier to walk away. That's what duty is. Duty is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about proving day after day that your love is dependable. When we talk about trust, punishment, we often think of it as something mysterious, something you either have or you don't. But trust is built brick by brick through duty. It's built when you keep your promises, when you stay loyal, punishment, when you choose honesty even when lies look easier. Every time you act with responsibility, you strengthen the foundation of trust. And once that foundation is strong, the relationship can breathe. It has space to grow. It has oxygen. Punishment. But without duty, trust crumbles. Think about it. What happens when someone says they love you, but they don't take responsibility for their actions? What happens when they're inconsistent, unreliable, careless with their words? The love may still feel exciting for a while, but deep down, insecurity grows, doubt creeps in. And once trust is broken, love becomes fragile. It gasps for air. It struggles to survive. Punishment. That's why relationships built on feelings alone collapse. They don't have the oxygen of trust to keep them alive. Duty doesn't kill romance, it protects it. It's easy to say, I love you, when everything is fun, punishment. But duty is what keeps that love steady through arguments, through stress, through change. Think about breathing. You don't notice it when it's working, but the moment you can't breathe, you panic. The same is true with trust, punishment. When it's there, you feel secure, free, safe. But the moment it disappears, the relationship suffocates. Duty ensures that trust keeps flowing. And here's the thing, duty doesn't mean grand gestures. Punishment. It's not about buying gifts or making dramatic declarations. Duty is built in the small daily actions. It's remembering to listen when your partner speaks. It's keeping your word when you say you'll do something. It's standing by them in difficult times instead of disappearing when things get heavy. These moments may look ordinary, but together they create extraordinary trust. Some people run from duty because they think it limits them. Punishment. They think responsibility is a cage. But in reality, duty is freedom. When you're consistent, when you're reliable, when you take ownership, you create a space where both people can breathe without fear. That's freedom, that's trust. And trust, once it's alive, makes love stronger, safer, and far more passionate than fleeting emotions ever could. Sacrifice plays a part in this too. Duty sometimes means giving up comfort for the sake of love. Punishment. It means staying patient when you'd rather argue. It means choosing respect when you're tempted to lash out. These sacrifices are not losses, they are investments. Every sacrifice fueled by duty adds another layer of trust. Punishment. And when trust is deep, love doesn't just survive, it thrives. We all want love that lasts. But lasting love is not built on perfect chemistry or endless passion. It's built on trust. Punishment and trust is only possible when both people honor their duty to one another. That's why couples who understand duty create relationships that don't just look good from the outside, but feel unshakable on the inside. So Punishment. If you want your relationship to breathe, if you want it to grow strong, don't just focus on how much you love, focus on how consistent, how reliable, how committed you are. Because love without trust is just a spark. Punishment, but love with trust, built through duty, is a fire that never goes out. Remember this: feelings may start the story, but duty keeps writing the chapters. And trust, the oxygen of strong relationships, is what keeps that story alive. Punishment, sacrifice, and responsibility are not restrictions. They are the proof of real love. Somewhere along the way, we've been taught to believe that love should feel effortless, that it should always be light, free, and easy. Punishment, but that's not reality. Real love demands weight. It asks you to carry more than just your own needs. It calls you to sacrifice, to take responsibility, to step into a level of commitment that goes beyond emotions. And here's the truth: punishment, that's not a prison, it's freedom. Because when you willingly take on responsibility for someone you love, you're not losing yourself. You're proving that your love is strong enough to last. Think about sacrifice for a moment. Punishment, it doesn't mean you erase your identity. It doesn't mean you give up your dreams. It means you adjust, you compromise, you give pieces of yourself for the sake of something bigger, the relationship. Love without sacrifice is selfish. Punishment, it says, I'll stay as long as it benefits me. But love with sacrifice says, I'll give up comfort, I'll endure inconvenience. Punishment, I'll stretch beyond myself because this bond matters more than my momentary ease. That's real love. Responsibility is the same. Too many people run from it, thinking it limits their freedom. Punishment, but responsibility doesn't trap you. It proves your love has depth. Saying, I love you, is easy. Taking responsibility when things get hard, when mistakes happen, when effort is required, that's the hard part. But that's also the most meaningful part, because responsibility says, I am accountable for my words, my actions, my role in this relationship. That accountability builds trust. And without trust, love can't survive. Now, punishment. A lot of people mistake sacrifice and responsibility as signs of weakness, as if you're losing power. But in reality, they are the greatest signs of strength. Anyone can walk away when things are tough. Anyone can love when it's easy. Punishment. But it takes strength to stay, to carry, to put someone else's needs beside your own without resentment. That's not weakness. That's courage. That's maturity. That's proof that your love isn't shallow. Punishment. Think of the strongest couples you know. They're not the ones who avoided sacrifice. They're not the ones who avoided responsibility. They're the ones who embraced it. They learned how to give up short-term comfort for long-term connection. They accepted responsibility for their role in every conflict, every challenge, every season of growth. And because of that, their love became unshakable. Here's the thing: sacrifice and responsibility actually deepen love. Why? Because they create security. When you know someone is willing to sacrifice for you, you feel valued. When you see them take responsibility, you feel safe. Punishment, those two ingredients, feeling valued and feeling safe, are what allow love to grow deeper. Without them, love stays shallow, dependent only on feelings. And as we know, feelings change. Punishment. But sacrifice and responsibility, those are choices, and choices last. Sometimes sacrifice looks small: listening when you'd rather talk, showing patience when you're tired. Punishment, putting your partner's needs ahead of your own in simple moments. Other times it's bigger: choosing to compromise on career decisions, making financial adjustments, or carrying extra weight when your partner is struggling. Whatever form it takes, every sacrifice whispers the same truth: you matter more than my comfort. That's not restriction, that's devotion. Responsibility works the same way. It's showing up when you say you will. Punishment, it's admitting when you're wrong. It's taking care of your words and actions because you know they affect someone else's heart. Responsibility says, I respect you enough to be reliable, to be accountable. Punishment, to stand steady. And when two people carry that mindset together, love becomes unstoppable. So don't believe the lie that love is about doing whatever you want without consequence. That's not love, that's selfishness. Real love has weight. Real love is responsibility. Real love has sacrifice. And instead of killing passion, those things fuel it. Because when you know your partner is willing to sacrifice for you, punishment. When you see them carry responsibility for the bond you share, your love doesn't shrink, it expands. It grows into something solid, something you can depend on through every storm. Punishment. Sacrifice and responsibility are not restrictions. They're the highest form of freedom in love. They free you from doubt, from insecurity, from fear. They prove your love isn't fragile, isn't shallow, isn't temporary. Punishment. They prove your love is real. So remember this, if you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to take responsibility, your love will stay fragile. But if you embrace them, if you carry them proudly, punishment, your love will become unbreakable. That's the foundation of something worth keeping. Choosing discipline over fleeting emotions creates a foundation that lasts through storms. And let's be clear, storms will come. No relationship lives only in the sunshine. There will be disagreements, disappointments, seasons of stress, and moments when you don't feel the same spark you once did. If your relationship is built only on emotion, punishment, it will collapse under the weight of those storms. But when it's built on discipline, on commitment, on daily choices, on responsibility, it stands firm. Discipline doesn't remove the storm, but it gives you roots deep enough to withstand it. Emotions are powerful, but they are not permanent. They rise and fall like waves. One day you feel passion. The next day you feel distance. One moment you're filled with patience. The next moment you're irritated and short-tempered. If your love depends entirely on those shifting emotions, it will be as unstable as the feelings themselves. That's why discipline matters. Discipline says, I will choose you even when I don't feel like it. I will act in love even when I don't feel love. I will stand steady even when the emotions of the moment tell me to walk away. Discipline is not cold. Discipline is not about killing passion. Discipline is about protecting passion. It's the guardrail that keeps love from running off the road when emotions swerve. Think about trust, respect, and consistency. Those things don't come from emotion. They come from discipline, punishment. You don't build trust by being consistent only when you feel like it. You build trust by being consistent even when it's inconvenient. That's the power of discipline. When storms hit a relationship, emotions often push you to react, lash out, withdraw blame, or shut down. Discipline pushes you to respond differently, to stay calm, to listen, to communicate, to remember that the person in front of you is not the enemy, but your partner. Discipline chooses long-term strength over short-term satisfaction. It refuses to let a temporary emotion destroy a permanent bond. Punishment. And here's the beauty of discipline. It creates safety. When someone knows you will choose discipline over impulse, they feel secure with you. They don't have to fear that every argument means the end. Punishment. They don't have to worry that one bad season will make you walk away. Your discipline tells them, this is solid, this is stable. This will last. That security allows love to grow deeper beyond the surface of emotion. Now, punishment. Some people confuse discipline with restriction. They think discipline kills freedom. But in truth, discipline creates freedom. It frees you from being controlled by your emotions. It frees your relationship from constant instability. It frees you to build something lasting because you're not at the mercy of how you feel in the moment. Real freedom in love is not doing whatever you want. It's choosing what strengthens the bond, even when it costs you something in the moment. Discipline also requires sacrifice, and sacrifice is the heartbeat of lasting love. It's choosing to stay present when you'd rather escape punishment. It's choosing to apologize when pride tells you not to. It's choosing to be patient when anger tempts you to explode. These choices are not easy, but they are what keep love alive when emotions alone would have let it die. Punishment. The strongest couples are not the ones who never argue, never struggle, never doubt. They are the ones who built their love on discipline. They chose to show up again and again to do the hard work, to carry the weight together. They didn't let fleeting emotions dictate permanent decisions. And because of that, their love grew stronger, more unshakable, more enduring through every storm. So here's the truth. If you want a relationship that lasts, punishment. You cannot rely on feelings alone. Feelings will fail you. Discipline will not. Discipline is the quiet, steady force that holds you together when the storm rages. It's the daily choice to honor your commitment, to protect your love, punishment, to prioritize the bond over your emotions. In the end, emotions come and go, but discipline keeps you rooted. And those roots, deep and steady, are what allow love not just to survive the storm, but to thrive after it. Punishment. Choosing discipline over fleeting emotions doesn't kill love. It keeps it alive. It builds a foundation strong enough to last, not just for a season, but for a lifetime. Relationships thrive not on grand gestures, punishment, but on consistent daily actions of care, respect, and accountability. And yet, so many people get this wrong. They think love has to be proven in fireworks and dramatic surprises, in big moments that look good on social media. Punishment. But here's the truth. Grand gestures may create excitement, but they don't create security. They may impress for a day, but they don't sustain for a lifetime. What sustains love, what actually makes a relationship strong, is the small, repeated choices you make every single day. Think about it. Anyone can plan a a big date once in a while, buy an expensive gift, or say something poetic in the heat of the moment. But those things don't mean much if punishment. On the other days, there's neglect, disrespect, or irresponsibility. Love doesn't collapse because of the absence of grand gestures. It collapses because of the absence of daily consistency. When someone feels unseen, unheard, punishment, or unsafe day after day, the relationship weakens. No matter how many times you try to cover it up with something big and dramatic, care, respect, and accountability may look simple, but they're what build trust. Punishment. Care is noticing the little things, checking in when your partner seems off, listening when they need to be heard, offering support without being asked. Respect is not just about what you say in public. Punishment. It's about how you treat them in private, in arguments, in everyday moments. And accountability, maybe the most important of all, is taking responsibility for your actions, admitting when you're wrong. Punishment, and showing that your love isn't just words, but behavior. Strong relationships are built like houses, brick by brick. Each daily action of care, respect, and accountability adds another brick to the foundation. Over time, punishment, you create something strong, something weatherproof, something unshakable. But if you ignore the small cracks, if you skip responsibility, if you let disrespect slide, if you neglect care, those cracks grow. And no amount of flowers, punishment, jewelry, or weekend getaways can repair the damage of neglect. Now, that doesn't mean grand gestures are meaningless. They can be beautiful. They can add spark. They can make memories. Punishment. But they're not the foundation. They're the decoration. The real structure of a relationship is built in the unglamorous moments. It's built in remembering to keep your promises. It's built in choosing patience instead of anger. It's built in apologizing without excuses, in listening without distractions, and showing up consistently without being asked. People often say, love is in the details. And they're right, because the details prove the truth. Punishment. It's easy to say, I love you, but do your actions echo that in the small, daily ways? Do you treat your partner with respect when you're frustrated? Do you care for them even when you're tired? Punishment. Do you hold yourself accountable when you fall short? Those are the questions that reveal the strength of love. What makes daily consistency powerful is that it creates safety. When someone knows they can count on you, punishment. Not just sometimes, but all the time, their heart relaxes. They don't have to question your loyalty, your care, or your commitment. That sense of security is what allows love to deepen and last. Without it, punishment. The relationship feels unstable, like you're always waiting for the next disappointment. It's like breathing. You don't notice it when it's steady, but the moment it's inconsistent, you panic. Daily consistency in care, respect, and accountability is the oxygen of strong love. You may not always notice it when it's there, but it's what keeps everything alive. So stop chasing the myth that love is about doing something extraordinary once in a while. Punishment. Start honoring the truth that love is about being faithful in the ordinary every day, because at the end of the day, relationships don't crumble from a lack of grand gestures. They crumble from a lack of consistency. Remember this, punishment. Real love is not measured by how big you act once. It's measured by how small you act faithfully day after day, because those small, consistent actions, they don't just keep love alive, they make it thrive.